Doot, doot, doot.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to our Firefly webinar, our first one of 2026. We're so excited you are here. I see a lot of people in the chat. Thank you. We were coming from Texas, New York, California. Let's see. I see Kings Mountain, Washington State, Michigan, South Dakota. Welcome. There's still takes a little while for everyone to come in, so I'll give them a few minutes. While we're waiting for everyone, I am going to throw a poll up. And I'm going to move it to the stage, and it takes like 10 seconds to launch. Our first question of the day is this your first time attending a Firefly webinar? Would love to hear if we've got some regulars or if this is your first time. So let me know. I'm going to add that to the stage, and you can go ahead and put your answers in there. Our guests are still kind of filing in, so great. We've got up to 25. There should be about 75 people registered in our webinar. So we're going to just wait a few minutes for them to come in before we get started on all the good stuff.
Good mix of people that have been to webinars and also first-timers. So welcome.
It's always exciting to see. Exciting to see people come back and exciting to see new people come in. So both ways.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that. Oh, we got one more vote. Oh, now we're dead even. Yeah. All right, let's wait for one more. Just to scale a little bit. All right. I think that's about it for right now. All right. All right, Adrian, can you pop up our agenda for today's webinar? There it is. Awesome. So we're getting ready for 2026, new year. Maybe you've got some updates that you need to make sure you've got in Firefly. And so each of us are going to take a little section and go over that. We're going to talk about training new staff, learning new features in Firefly. There's been some new features released recently. We're going to go over the unit settings, cancellation rules, policies, getting those integrations ready. Some new integrations this past year, if you haven't heard. We'll talk about your promo opportunities, bulk messaging, and how to turn on the booking portal early. So with that, we will get started with Adrian.
All right, awesome. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, and please let me know if you can see it. We're all good. It's okay?
Looks good.
Yep, looks good. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to jump right in and start with training new staff. And if you do have questions along the way about the topics that we're discussing, please feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A, but we will have time for a few questions at the end as well. So either way, we'll try to get everyone answered. But when you're starting up for 2026, if you're getting new staff, if you get seasonal staff, if you're getting people coming back and you're like, ooh, they need a bit of a refresher, we do have a few different resources you can use to train your new staff. So first and foremost, if you click on the knowledge base down here on the bottom left, you'll notice that if you go to getting started with Firefly reservations, there is a Firefly new user training guide. So you can sit someone down in front of the guide, have them kind of go through everything. There are a whole bunch of videos to go through that they can kind of follow along with. So that's the easiest way just to get them familiarized with the system. Now, if you are training them at the park, just make sure when you are doing so, if you're making a reservation, don't actually hit create reservation because that will charge you the $350. So you can take them as far as you want until the create reservation button, but hitting that create will charge the $350. And if you want to do that so they have a reservation to play with and test out, by all means, that's fine. But I just want people to be aware of that because that will happen. The other option for training your new staff, of course, would be to book them appointment with our success team. So that would be with Jen, Matt, or myself, and we can go through just the basics with them. In a training session, we usually cover things like the dashboard, how to make a reservation, how to make changes, how to put in payments, just anything that they would need to do to get through a basic workday. So all of those resources are available for you. Again, it can be new staff, it can be a refresher. If you want someone to go deep into a certain aspect of the training, maybe somebody is getting a bit of a promotion and you want them to know more about the reporting or about long-term reservations, that's always an option too. You can pick your focal point and we can do a session based around that. Of course, we also have lots of resources available on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/@fireflyreservations, you will see all of the videos that we have and all previous user trainings as well as webinars. So lots of resources to check out. All right, so that's getting somebody new ready to go. But let's talk about some of our new and exciting features in Firefly. And this is my favorite part. I think everyone knows by now, I get so excited. So we're going to start first with our grid enhancements. Now, you might notice if you were on the classic grid that your grid has flipped over, but there are so many ways you can use the new grid and customize it to your liking. And there's some pretty awesome features on it too. So if you are on the grid, just be aware that the little cog icon here on the top right allows you to change the grid settings, but you might not have permissions to change those settings right away. So if you don't, go to settings and down to users. And when you click on a user, my internet's a little bit pokey because it's so cold here today, you'll notice that there is a option for reservation grid settings management. So if you're clicking the little gear or cog icon and it's not going anywhere, just go into here and make sure that's checkmarked for you so that you can access those settings. So let's go into it and take a peek. So this is the expanded grid. So if you like to have the size limitations on the units, just so if someone's using the grid, they can know right away if something's going to fit, you can turn this checkbox on. You can customize the size and width and font size of the settings on the grid. So play around with that to see what works for everybody. But be aware that these settings are global, so it's not per user. Once it's set like that for everybody. On the reservation tab up here, you can choose the background color source. And my recommendation is always balance due status because that really quickly tells you if somebody owes you money, and we always want to know that. And then the border color source, that's that little line at the top. You can choose from whichever one you want here. So if you have a good, healthy mix of like ongoing and standard reservations, you might want to do the reservation type. You might want to do check-in status if you use check-in, check-out a lot. So whatever you think is going to work best for you on a day-to-day basis. Now, all the icons that you see here are available to be displayed on the grid. So if there is something that you want on the grid, you just hover and hit add and it'll appear there. So we'll save our things here and go back to our grid. So now you can see I have oh, nobody pays me in my park. That's why everything is so red. Everyone's overdue. But you can see the icons appear here, and you can also hover to see what they mean. Now, some of the other cool features of the grid would be if you want to extend somebody, if you just hover over here and then drag it out, that will allow you to extend or change the reservation dates right there from the grid. You can save and view the charges, which will take you to the reservation, or just save it and move on. You can also right-click on the grid to open reservations, to move them, to check them out, to lock it from here. And of course, you can book on the grid by create extension as well if you want to extend their camping stay. One of my favorite features of the grid is you can drag and drop people. So if Test McTester here is like, well, I'm going to be a day late, you can just take his reservation and drag it over a day. And we can have it recalculate as well, but that will update all the charges right there. And a new feature to the grid that I also love is you can now swap reservations. So let's say Test and Bobbert, I want to swap these two. If I drag one on top of the other, there we go, you'll see it turns green because I'm able to do it. It will swap the two reservations. It'll tell you here what's changing just so you can make sure everything's okay. And you can hit save and they will swap around. So now Test is here and Bobbert is here. So that's a really nice way to be able to move people. Of course, if they're locked, we're not going to do that. And it will let you know if they are locked. But it makes it very easy for you to optimize your grid if you do want to shift people around. So that's a great thing to have. Now there is a lock icon as well. So if one of these were locked, you would see the little lock icon here too, just to notify you that, hey, this reservation is locked, just so you're not moving people who maybe you don't want to be moving. So the next feature I'd like to move into is our waitlist feature. So if we go over here to reservations and down to waitlist, we have really upgraded the waitlist and it's so exciting. So you have a couple options for your waitlist. You can just add people manually. So you can do add new guests to waitlist. You fill out what they're looking for here. You can give a date range. You can say if it's flexible or not. Whatever information they're giving you that you want to fill in, by all means, fill in here. You can also, in settings, there we go, settings, property, and reservations, you have the option, if it's not already turned on, to turn on your wait list down here for people booking online. So if they're not finding what they're looking for or the dates they're looking for, they can add themselves to the wait list, which is kind of a nice thing, especially for holiday weekends. So that's the option available there. Now, if we're going to go back to waitlist, you can see here, this has really been expanded and there's a bunch of actions here on the right. So if we look at our actions, if we know that a site's available, we can add reservation, and I'll do that in a minute. We can send an availability notification, which will notify the guest that the site is available. We can, of course, view and edit the waitlist edition, or we can delete it if we're like, oh, they're not coming, or the site's not free anymore, or it's passed. We can always delete it here too. You can also filter on the top here as well, and you can print this list or export it if you wish. So if you know a site has become available, maybe you just did a cancellation and you know John Camper is here on the wait list, you can do add reservation. It will fill in the details for you. But the other cool thing now is you can do it from the grid and from the map. So I know I put John in here for the May 24 weekend. So let me just go here to May. And let's say here he wants like this date, these dates are free, so I can highlight it and I can actually check the waitlist matches right here. And we can see, oh, somebody does want to come during this date range. So from here, I can say, well, I want to add a reservation. So you can see it pre-fills the information here. I'm going to hit create. And it actually already has everything pretty much good to go. His info's in here. His guest information is in here. So you just scroll down to the bottom, fill out his credit card and create the reservation and you're all done. We also have added that to the map. Oh, I'll have to remove him first. So let me just remove that reservation I was starting to create. So the map works pretty much the same way as the grid, which I think is really cool. So let me just remove him. So it happens when you do so many tests. Okay, great. So we can go to the map. Let's put our date range in again. So I know, for example, I've just canceled a reservation from the 15th to the 17th. And let's say I want to look at this site here. And if I check the waitlist matches, here's John again. And again, I can do here and I can add the reservation right from there, or view it here if I want to and click add reservation there. Now, the other cool thing is if you do send availability notification to guests, that will send them an email. And if they click the reservation portal link in their email, it actually has everything pre-filled for them. So they can hit search availability. Like I didn't fill this out. I clicked on it in the email. They can click on the site that they want and click book. But because it's coming from the wait list, you'll notice that the camper's information on the guest page is already filled out for them because it came from the database already. So it just makes it one less step for them to get in there and get their booking, because once a site becomes available, it doesn't hold it for them. It is really first come, first serve. So if you send that notification, it gives them a little bit more speed to get in there and book the site that's now available. The last thing I want to talk about is the upgrades to our group holds. So over here under reservation, we have our group holds. And of course, we can do a new group hold here. I'm just going to view the one I have, so I don't have to fill all the details out again. But you can make your code. You can do a coupon code or a special rate qualifier. You don't have to. So if you want to put a group in and it's like Bob's family who wants to come camping with 4 campsites, don't feel like you have to give them a coupon or a special rate. It can just be normal. You can leave these totally blank. Then you add the units that you want. So you can see I have some here, and we have really upped the way that this part looks. So it's now in chronological order. You can sort by clicking on the column headings. And under options, you can delete it from here, and you can add a reservation right from this group hold page. So it's really nice because it just clicks it right in for you. Now you still have to fill out the guest details because the guest might be different from the group organizer, but it does make that step much faster. We've also added that to the grid. So let me go back here to the grid and just reset it to today. There we go. You can see here's my group hold on the grid. If I right click on it, I can add a reservation into the group hold now. So just making that so much faster and easier and having that group hold assigned. So those are the updates to the group holds and a lot of the fun new features that we've put into Firefly. I'll stop sharing my screen and we'll get back on the stage here. And I think...
Oops, wrong one.
Jen is...
All right. Thanks so much, Adrienne. That was great. A lot of great features that we've got added in there. I'm going to post another poll just for our transition. When did you start using Firefly? Are you a new user? You just went live? Are you still in onboarding? Did you start last year, maybe 2024? Or maybe you've been here a while and you want a refresher of what you need to do this upcoming year. Oh, that's great.
So that's a good mix too, eh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see our regulars here as well. Looks like we've got a handful of people who've been here with us for a while. Thanks for your loyalty.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to remove that from stage. And now I'm going to share my screen. All right, am I sharing my screen?
I don't see it yet.
Not yet. It might just take a second.
There it goes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So what I would like to share with you today is updating your units for the new year. So I'm going to go to my manage units and I'm going to pick one of my standard RV sites. And I'm just going to kind of go through the tabs across the top. You want to make sure, are your descriptions the same? Did you add anything? Did you want to change your max capacity? This is the time to do that. Again, you want to double check that things are correct. RV length slides. Maybe you care about a manufacturing year. Maybe you want to prohibit certain types of vehicles or equipment from coming in. Maybe you need to hide one of your units from the reservation portal. This is your time to do that. Our next tab, important, is your rates. Is this the time of year that you're going to change your rates? What you can do if you want to change your standard rate, just go into the 3 dots to edit. And you can either edit this rate here. You can maybe check on your extra occupant or extra pet fees here. And you'll also want to make sure you check your special rates. Here I've got a holiday rate for Memorial Day of 2025. I need to make sure I add that for 2026. So one thing I can do is just duplicate this, put in my new dates for 2026. And maybe I want to change that to 125 this year. And I can save that. And so now there's my new date. Another thing that maybe you don't know about is our dynamic pricing. When you enter special rates, we have advanced rate options down here. You just can open that up, and it opens up a whole new area where you can utilize for your pricing. So this down here is our dynamic pricing. You could base it on the total occupancy for your whole property or just the unit class. So maybe you have tents, RV sites, and cabins, and you just want to have a dynamic pricing for your RV sites. What this means is when your occupancy for this unit class is between 60 and 80%, you can have a higher rate. So maybe as you're filling up, you want to charge a little bit more. And you could do it on the flip side as well. Maybe, when it's a lower occupancy, you maybe want to have a lower rate to try and get more people in your park when it's a lower occupancy. And like I said, you can base it on unit class or on the whole property occupancy rates. You can also change rates based on nights of stay. So if you want to have a special rate for people staying 4 nights, you can offer that as well. Or maybe you have different pricing for different size of RVs or types of equipment here. This is a time that you can update and utilize those new features that we've got there. Most of those have been there a little while, but not a lot of people know about them. So that's a good way to do that. When you update your rates, you want to make sure you update your weekly and monthly and seasonal if you have them as well. Deposits. This might be a time where you might change your deposit rules. Maybe you were only collecting 50% up front, but you'd like to change that to 100% up front at time of booking. Now's a good time to do that. Same with your cancellation rules. Maybe your cancellation rules, you just threw them in, you weren't sure what you wanted, but now you've kind of narrowed down and you want to change that. Now is a great time to do that. Click the 3 dots to edit. I always like to, this is an internal title, so I always like to kind of keep my rule in the title. You can change it to maximum days in stay. So maybe you have a special rule for your short term versus your long term or under 14 days, things like that. And then you can add your rules here. Maybe you didn't always keep the reservation fee, but now you want to start keeping that reservation fee no matter when they cancel. You can add that refund rule in here. Another thing to make note is taxes. I know one of my parks in Tennessee just recently had a tax change, and they needed to update all of their taxes. So it might be a good time to check on your taxes and make those updates if needed. Some taxes are good for stays 30 days or less. Some taxes start at 30 days or more, vice versa. So you might want to make sure that those are all updated in your units. The next thing in your units you might want to make sure you update is your photos. Maybe your photos are 4 years old and the site's looking nothing like it. Maybe there's no more trees, some fell down with the ice. So you can update your photos at this time. Another things you might want to update is your amenities. Maybe when you opened the park, you didn't have picnic tables or fire rings. Maybe you do now. Or maybe you added a laundry facility that you'd like to add to those amenities. It's a good time to do that. Minimum max nights. So maybe you have a minimum night rule for holiday weekends or through the summer. You'll want to make sure that those dates are still pertinent. So maybe it was 2025, you need to update it to 2026. Same with your max night rules. Lock fees. Maybe you never charged a lock fee and you're looking for a way to add a little bit more revenue to your park. Lock fees is one way to do that. So maybe you might want to add a lock fee. Blocks. This is where you can see any blocks that you might have on your units. Maybe you need to update those, or maybe you need to take them off. Also, utilities. You can see a running list of your utilities here. Nothing really to update there. Add-ons, maybe you want to make sure that you have your required add-ons on for your security deposit, electricity deposit, cleaning fees, things like that. And remember, once you make those changes to your unit, you can use that import-export unit information. So maybe you change your amenities, your deposit rules, and your rates, and you want to change that either to all your units or just the units in your unit class. Standard RV. And you can update those all together so you're not going into each individual unit and making those changes. This makes it nice and easy. One more thing you might want to change or update this year is your policies. Are they still relevant? Do you need to update? Does somebody break a rule that you need to make sure you break out and stand out and make sure they assign? If you update your policies, maybe you changed your cancellation policy and you need to update this as well. 3 dots to edit. You can make your edits here. Please note that if you already have reservations in the system and you update your policies, when they check in, you may notice that on the policy tab that they might need re-signing, that they haven't signed the new updated policies. You can email that to your guests and they can sign those new policies. The last thing that I wanted to mention is under settings and property and reservations. Maybe you might have a max reservation date. Maybe your reservation, you stopped taking reservations October of 2025 and you need to open it up. You can either clear it out to open those reservations up, or you can put in your close date of October 15th of 2026 to stop reservations from then. Some parks even turn off their portal, and you may want to make sure that reservation portal is enabled if you did turn that off. Also, reservation instructions. Maybe you have your season open and close date on your reservation portal instructions. Maybe you might need to change those dates if they're changing this coming year. Maybe any instructions here might be outdated, so you just want to double check and make sure that's what you want it to say. And you may want to just check on your blocks to update your blocks. If you have your blocked unit groups for, the winter, you want to just make sure you close it for that winter of 2026 into 2027. And you just want to do an active block here. Maybe you're closing October 15th, opening up March of 27. Oops, let's see, March. And maybe you're closed out of season and you want to just make sure that you close all your available units. Oh, I've got some reservations in there, so I won't be able to do all of them. It'll tell you if you've got reservations in there, but you want to make sure you do that before you get any reservations, and then you'll be able to block off those sites for that season. And that is all I've got. All right, one more poll. Let's see whose parks are open all year long. Do you have a season close? Are you open in the winter or the summer? Are you open all year long? We'd love to know. All right, we've got some different types of parks that are open throughout the year. Probably not too many closed for summer. Maybe those Florida and South Texas parks might be a little hot in the summer.
And just to note too, we have some questions coming in, so we'll have Matt do his part and then we'll get to all the questions at the end there. Unless something comes up that pertains to what's on screen. So we will get to everyone, I promise.
Okay, great. All right, thanks for your information. All right, I'm going to remove from stage, and Matt, you're up.
Okay, thank you. Let me do that. And just let me know when you guys can see it. I just want to make sure everything is squared away. Let me see here. Can you guys see Firefly coupons?
No, we see your Wistia screen.
Oops, sorry. Hold on one second. Let me try this again. Okay. How about now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry for the delay there. So I'll talk about a couple things. One of them kind of actually relates to what Jennifer was speaking about, that being the special rates and the coupons. So you could, for some situations, you can do a coupon or a special rate, something like a Memorial Day weekend or a July 4th weekend sale or something like that. But I'll talk about the coupons a bit. I'll also talk about bulk emails, just because I don't know about you guys, I've had a lot of people that have just didn't know that this was possible, that you could send out a mass email, and this is a good time of year to do that for marketing reasons, for getting people back in the swing of things and booking for 2026. And then lastly, I'll talk about the integrations just briefly, really just a reminder, and I can show you a screenshot of what it looks like. Just a reminder to, if you are hooked up with HipCamp, Airbnb, VRBO, those sorts of platforms, to make sure that you update your rates in there. Fly with that third party in there that connects out, you can't actually put unlimited dates on your rates. It goes out only a certain amount of time, just over a year. So I'll show you that as well. But first would be the coupons. So this year, or I should say last year in 2025, we expanded this a bit as far as making coupons more approachable and more useful, just because of how they apply to more situations now. So first, if I just come into settings and coupons, first off, there's just a nice menu that'll show you here what's still active, what's maxed out. If you did, for example, have a coupon where you said, we'll have this go out, but it's only going out to the first 5 or 10 or 20 people. And then, of course, there's expired ones too. You can certainly set a date range where it's indefinite, and I'll show you that in a second, but you could also just have specific date ranges on there too. So a couple examples that I'd like to show, and just also to give you guys an idea of what's possible in there now. Here is one that I've pulled up. One example here is stay 3 nights and save 15%. So you have to stay minimum 3 nights. You could stay 4, 5, 6 nights. That's okay as well. You can specify that sort of stuff now. So for example, here, there will always be a required coupon code, even if you do not require them to put in a coupon code. So something to consider there. There's always going to be some identifier you have to put in there. It can be words, it can be numbers. You could put whatever you need in there. And then, of course, you could have a discounted dollar amount or a discounted percentage if you need to. Most of the coupons that I see are based on the date of reservation, but you could have date of use, meaning if you book something during, from now until only the end of February, if you book in that date range, that's when you'll get, or you'll be applicable for a coupon. So 2 different ways to do that. The way that mine is set up now is just basically saying, if you arrive anytime after February 4th, you're good to go. This is going to apply to you. And you can always put an end date on there, of course. You can apply discounts to specifically just add-ons, specifically just lock fees. Jennifer mentioned those, or specifically just the units as well. And so for this particular example, I'm saying you have to stay 3 nights or more. I might have it set up where I'm not, if you're staying more than 5 nights, this isn't going to apply because maybe that's too big of a discount. You can play around with those sorts of things. This particular coupon, this last field is not applied, but I have seen confusion over it. There is a little information box here, but just so people know, this is a way for you to apply a discount to, say, the first night of the stay or the first 2 nights of the stay. That's what this box is here, number of nights. A little different from minimum nights, maximum nights. This is just based on applying a rate, or excuse me, applying a discount to a specific night of the stay. You could do this for certain reservation types, certain classes, certain unit types, and then you can also add blackout dates, which is important for a lot of people, especially with a big overarching promo, something like this one here. Stay 3 nights, save 15%. This is just a good way to get things moving. If you see at the beginning of the season things are slower than prior years, this might be a good way to get some more traffic, is to set up some promos. Also, down at the bottom here, and then I'll show you a couple other coupon ideas. You get to choose whether or not the occupant fees are also included in that discount. So if people are wondering what that is, that's within the rate itself when you can apply, say, a $5 additional fee for any adults after the first 2 adults. This just determines whether or not those are also discounted. So those fees are the ones that are inside the rate themselves. And then lastly, and I'll show you this on the live site, but you could choose whether or not the discount or the coupon actually shows in their booking process. So in other words, you could have a situation where maybe you have a senior citizen discount or a military discount, and you're not actively promoting it, but if someone brings it up, absolutely, we'll give you a military or veteran discount, and you guys could just apply it from your end. But if you want them to be able to apply it themselves, absolutely, you can do that. And then you could also make it so that they have to actually put in that coupon code. So there's kind of a combination of things you could do. You could have them put in the code, you could have them just click it in a drop down, or you could make it just internal if you really needed to. If it's just something like the, say, a veterans discount where, again, it's not a promotion, it's just if somebody asks, sure, we'll discount that, and you can do that just internally. So here's an example. This is a reservation that I went in to the reservation portal. I went in as if I'm booking a reservation, and where the coupons are going to show, the discounts, the coupons, whatever you want to call them, they're going to show at the very last page. So you put in the guest info, select your site, all that stuff that you guys have seen. This is on the very, very last page from a guest perspective after they put in the credit card information. And based on this reservation that I put in here, you can see as a guest, I'm trying to book for February 4th through February 8th. It's 4 nights. It's within the date ranges that I put within this setup here. So therefore, this is applicable. So for example, buy 3 nights and get 1 free. That was another one that I had in here as well. And I'll show you that in a second. This is where you can have it in the drop down for them to choose themselves. Or if this is where you can have them specifically put in that coupon code in order for it to essentially unlock for them. And then lastly, what's also helpful for, say, Good Sam or something along those lines is if you select the discount, first of all, it's going to show on the left-hand side, here's how much you saved, here's the coupon that was applied, you saved $40, and they have to specifically put in their membership ID. So those ones can be helpful too. That is also in the setup area at the very bottom, require membership number. So that makes it so that, say, Good Sam or something along those lines, people aren't just willy-nilly clicking and hoping that they can get a discount when they're not actually a member.
Sorry, Matt, we have 2 questions about coupons since you're here. So
Sure.
the first question is there a way to have a coupon not apply to a special rate? We have a discounted rate created as a special rate and do not want a coupon eligible for this rate.
So say that again. So specifically not for a special
Yeah,
rate?
the rate qualifier. Or a special rate, yeah. Is there a way to not have a coupon apply to a special rate?
Would the rate be, the special rate be for special dates? You can have a blackout date for those.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like if it was for a July 4th weekend or something like that, of course, within that, you could put those as blackout dates. That's the one thing I thought of. Do you guys have other ideas on that too?
Yeah, like if it's a rate qualifier that's driven with a special rate, there'd be no way to block that. But
Good
you
point.
can block like what unit types it's on as well. So there might be
Yep.
something here we can play with and see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if say your cabins are the ones that are applicable to a certain, or maybe not applicable to a certain discount, you could do that within here. You can apply that to all unit types except a cabin. So there's different things we could do. It's potential that we could come up with sort of a workaround for that, just based on the specific setup you guys have.
Yeah, and there was one more, sorry. Would you be able to control the discount applying only to Sunday or Monday arrivals and for 4 nights only, departing by Thursday or Friday? We offer this as a weekday only discount.
Ooh, I might need help with that one. So first off, I didn't actually mention this. Yeah, you can definitely apply the discount to certain days of the week. That's not a problem. That specific situation was just tied to specific arrival dates. Is that right?
Yeah, so like arrival dates, no, but I mean, we could say, if you're staying Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's applicable on those days of the week, and you have to be staying a minimum of 3 nights or something like that.
Yeah. We just had somebody last week actually that set it up like that, where it's a racetrack, so people are coming in Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and the discounted rate or the special rate, it only applies to those long weekends. So you can set it up like that, but as Adrian said, it's not applicable to arrival dates. So that's something we could look at too. We could maybe try and finagle something there too.
Oh, it's a pay for 3, stay for 4 discount, so a 25% discount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you could say it like that. Yeah, then you could do, it has to be 4 nights, only applicable on these nights of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I have a similar one set up in here I wanted to show people as well. And that was sort of similar to what you just said. I have a buy 3 and get 1 free discount here. So just as an example to show how versatile this is you could basically say you have to stay specifically 4 nights. And if you do that, you're really just paying for the 3 nights. So basically what we're saying here is you have to stay specifically 4 nights, and then this discount is going to apply to, I suppose in this case, it's not a huge deal. So we're saying this is applying to the first night, one of those nights. If you stay 4 nights, one of those nights is 100% free. So there's different ways that you can utilize this. That is sort of what this is designed for. It's in a way sort of a workaround, but you can see that there's different ways you can utilize this for specific discounts.
And then one more question, how about a veterans discount?
Yeah, no problem. A lot of people have that, and that's one of those things I see more often than not, where it's listed in the policies, like that sort of stuff. Make sure you are prepared to show an ID, a little bit of everything. So you could require some sort of a license number or ID number as part of that if someone's showing uh, a veteran ID, or you could set it up where it's only visible internally and it's just if somebody brings it up to you. But you can see here, I do have a military one that's set up, and I'm showing it in the drop down. So as far as like this customer comes in, yeah, sure. If you want to freely give that out, if anyone sees it, they're military, sure, why not? You could absolutely just have that readily available for them to click that discount and choose whether or not you want them to put in a membership ID. Usually people are pretty good with that stuff, but there's that extra layer of, I guess, peace of mind or security that if you think anyone's trying to uh, cheat the system or something, you could also have them put in the ID for it.
And they also said veterans on arrival. So you could totally add the coupon after they are like, here, this is my ID. So
yeah, that's true as well. You guys can absolutely, I can pull up a reservation here. You guys can definitely apply a coupon after the stay as well. So that's not a problem. For example, if I pull up a reservation here, I don't think this person is paid, or maybe they paid, partial payment here. You can apply a coupon right in here. So before they pay the rest, or before they paid anything, or whatever it is, you can apply a coupon directly on a reservation after the reservation is made, if it's just on arrival, something like that. So no problems there. Just wanted to give you guys a feel for what the coupons can do now. It's a lot more versatile there. So definitely feel free to ask any other questions about that too. One other thing, or I should say the next thing that I wanted to show you guys, because a lot of people just don't know we have this, is bulk emailing. And I'll show you two things. First being, if you are in Firefly and you click on guests and email guests, you can see here, there's a little bit more filtering that you can do, that we added too. So if I wanted to go in and just email everybody that stayed at the camp last year, I could easily do that. I could just come in and filter it by last year, or filter it by a specific date range that I know that I was open for. As you can see here, you can also filter by just the folks that are there month to month, or just the short-term reservations, or just certain unit classes. Anything you want to do, you can sort of break it down that way. You can send different emails to different groups. As you can see here, this just spit out everyone that stayed at the campground last year. And then from there, I selected everybody. I scroll down. I can either load a template that I've already created in settings and templates. So I could pull that up and just load something that I've already made. Or I could come down here and make just a one-off email letting people know that, hey, reminder, booking's open on this day, or here's a couple promos that we're running. Make sure you book your favorite spot. This is a great place to come in and do that here. And for those people that haven't really done much of this yet, as part of this, you remember to use the insert placeholders too, because that'll make it more personal. You can insert their first name, last name, put in a summary if you want to. These are automatically going to grab that guest's information from their reservation, from their guest info and data in Firefly, and automatically update that. So it's a quick and easy way to send out a mass email for a variety of reasons, but in the context of today, just getting people ready for next season. One other thing on that note too is if some parks might be using an outside service like MailChimp or something like that for more formal marketing. What you can also do there is click on reports. And if you come down to the guest report, just remember that you can filter out if you're worried about legality and that sort of thing. People are able to subscribe or unsubscribe to marketing and promotional emails in there. So you can always filter people out. If you just want people, you want to grab a list, spit it out into an Excel file, and then put that Excel file into MailChimp or whatever third party you're using. You can do that here. It's just an easy way to do that is grab all that data. All right. So any questions there that came up?
No, you're good.
Okay, great. And then the last thing, and I apologize in advance, we aren't able to, this is a test park. So our parks that we show you guys in meetings and stuff, it's just a test park. So it's not hooked up to any of the integrations. I'll show you guys a screenshot though. The main point of this part of the call is just to show you guys and remind you guys that if you're hooked up to Airbnb, if you're hooked up to HipCamp, VRBO, Reserve America is a little different because that info comes directly from Firefly. So you don't have to worry about that. But for Airbnb, HipCamp, VRBO, those ones, just remember that you do have to go in, especially if you've been on there for a while, and add or extend your rates. So if you have new rates coming for the new year, if you don't have new rates but just have to extend the dates where they're applicable, it does not go indefinitely like you can set up your rates in Firefly. You do have to go in and specifically put some sort of an end date on there. So just as a reminder of how to get there and what it looks like, you would come to settings and you'd come to integrations. And this is where it's going to show the OTAs here. And then once you click this connect button, you'll be brought to a screen that looks just like this one in our knowledge base. So that's the screen that you guys, some of you guys are familiar with, where it'll show you get to pick and choose which sites are actually connected, whether it's just your campsites or just your cabins or whatever. Once you click save and you click channel setup, this is where you can update those rates. So just a reminder of how to do that. When you get to the next page, there's an inventory tab and you'll click the actions button there. That's how you're able to update your rates. And this is sort of what it looks like when you actually do that. So actions, bulk update, apply your date range, and then make sure you tell the system, what are we updating? We're updating our rates. This is also where you can update other things too, like minimum stay and so forth. But this is the important part, is just making sure that you extend that date range, or obviously update your rates if you're increasing rates or something like that. So this is how you can do it here. And that's really it. That's just a reminder on that part. If there's people in this call that have not set up with some of our integrations, feel free to reach out. We're happy with, first off, there's knowledge base articles specifically on here that sort of walk you through how to get set up, but we can also hop on a call with you guys and help you guys get set up too. And that's about it.
All right, so we do have a bunch of questions. Well, let's do it. So the first, I'm just
Oh,
go back
man.
to the top so that we make sure that we don't miss any. And if there are any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll just go down our list. So the first one is,
Sure.
for parks using Firefly during a change of ownership, how clean is the data transition, and are historical reservations and guest data preserved for continuity? So basically, when you do a change of ownership, we have an ownership change form that needs to be filled out just so we can say, yep, we know this is happening. So the new owners can pretty much just take over the system. So all of the data is preserved, like nothing goes anywhere. The only, I guess the biggest piece would be they would want to set up with a new processor, so they would lose the credit card data.
Yeah, good point. I don't think I have anything specific to add, but yeah, it's easy to just take things over. There's some back end stuff, obviously, between the owners, but as long as they agree on what they can access, it's pretty simple to make it happen.
Another thing you may want to change is the payment method where the invoices from Firefly are coming from. They'll probably take their payment method out, so the new owners will put their payment method in.
Yeah.
And refunds may be a little wonky for the first few months since the credit card data doesn't stay. Refunds may need to be by check or a reservation credit.
I can handle that next one there. Is there a way to have just a max capacity in general without specifying adults and children? The answer there is sort of, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me share again. So for that one, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. It does require what's your adult limit, what's your child limit, but a lot of people get confused about this. This does not mean because I put 4 adults and 2 children will allow 6 people. This is your master occupancy limit. So this is just saying we'll allow 4 people, some combination of up to 4 adults and up to 2 children. So there isn't just a way to remove these, but in a way, it does function how you're looking for it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And then, is there a way to set same day cutoff by site type rather than the whole property? No, right now it's all or nothing for the same day cutoff.
Okay, do you have a PDF manual that you can share so we can learn the system as questions arise? Not a PDF, not like an old school manual, but our knowledge base. I think Adrian mentioned it at the beginning. The knowledge base sort of has the same idea. It's just built out. Think of it as like a search engine just specifically for Firefly. So you can type in keywords and search there, and we're always adding stuff and editing stuff. And if you're logged into Firefly, in the bottom left is where you can ask for support, but also where you can access the knowledge base too.
Yeah, and you could print out individual like articles if there was something that people kept stumbling over, or you're like, this would just be super easy to have on the front desk or something. You could print individual pages out as well. This one is, I'm unable to make multiple reservations from the grid at one time as I have in the past. Is there a way to grab multiple sites at the same time? There is. You have to hold control down on your keyboard. And I just tested it to make sure. So as long as you're holding control down, and I can share my screen really quickly just to show everyone how that works. So if you hold the control key on your keyboard, you can highlight multiple different dates and then do add reservation and book many at once. So the control key is the clincher in that one.
Yeah. Good one there. The next one, we got Thomas answered there. This is a good question, actually. Which is better to use, rate qualifiers or coupons? Neither is better. It's really just how you want it to be presented to the customer. So if you use a rate qualifier, that is presented right at the beginning, right when they go in to select their site. So, for example, if you had a special rate just for veterans or just for residents of the town or something, if they on that original page when they're putting in their specifications, they're going to say, I'm a veteran or I'm a resident of the town. It's going to feed them their own rate right off the top. The coupon is, think of it like Amazon or something like that, where you get all the way through the booking process, and then there's a spot that says, do you qualify for any of these? So it's really just where you want it presented, how you want it presented, just two ways to do the same thing.
I would say, though, the coupons are more trackable because there's a report for coupons. So if you
Oh, good
do
point.
want to track the usage, coupons is what I would recommend.
Yeah, good call.
And then
Another thing with rate qualifiers is you need to make sure you update those rates. If you've got just a certain time, or if you're bumping up your rates, they won't automatically be bumped up when you change your other rates. Like a coupon, it would match those other rates.
That's a good call. Could you show what the Firefly reservation system looks like from a customer's perspective on a mobile phone? So I don't really have a great way to share this, to be honest, since we're all on the computer, but it is actually the same that you would see on your computer. It's just optimized for the smartphone. So like, for example, here's the reservation portal. Oh, I think I might have to put that back in the other one. Oh no. There. Can I go do that? Okay. Can you see that tab?
No.
No? Okay, let me try again. I confused it, I think. Okay. Can you see it now?
Oh, there
Yes.
it is.
Okay. So if we condense it like this is what it looks like on the cell phone, because it's just optimized based on size. So, and again, like a tablet. So if they had a tablet and it was a little bit bigger, it'll change based on the size of their screen. You can, of course, always go to a reservation portal on your phone to take a look. You're welcome to always look at my fake property here, which is just at fireflyreservations.com/reserve/property/Rayaland. So that's there if you want to try it out, but it's all optimized.
Just a couple other ones. Casey had a question about saying, I'm new. Is there a way to set up a calendar to basically automatically always show 3 days prior?
So it kind of does. So like if you're on the grid, here, let me show you. Well, let me share my screen again.
Yeah, and this is tied, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is tied to your internet browser, right? Where it'll
Yeah,
save.
it's like all cookies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's saving your preferences, basically.
But say, for example, I was doing something in May, so I wanted to put, I had May on my grid for whatever reason. When you hit the reset button, it resets it back, and it's usually a couple days before the current date. So that would be the best way to do it.
Yep. Let's see, any other ones? There was a question about a camping conference. Yeah, I can shoot you an email, Thomas, because we do go to some of those conferences. It just based on the schedule and everything. I'd like to, or our team would like to hear which one that is, where it is, what time of year. So yeah, I can shoot you over an email. For everybody else in the call too, we go to several of the conferences a year. It's always great to see people in person that we talk to in these calls and on board and stuff.
And then Thomas too had a complicated question about like being open for certain sites for certain date ranges for events. Thomas, one thing, and we can always talk about this off the webinar because it seems like a very specific situation. You could maybe use group holds to do that, because if you gave the event goers a specific group hold to book, they would only be able to book for the time frame that you've set aside for them. So that might be a way around doing what you might want to do. But yeah. And I think there were a few more questions in the chat as well. Oh, Lynn, sorry, back on the transition, the new owner transition, the email that is with, yeah, so you can change all the emails, Lynn, in Firefly for the new owner as well. So whether it's like users that you're doing or the name on the account, as long as that form is filled out, we can help you switch all that over. And then Kristen had a question about emails. I've had an issue where guests who do not want to receive my emails and there is no unsubscribe at the bottom of the mass emails I send. What do I do? So they can unsubscribe in the guest portal. They can't unsubscribe from reservation-based emails, but they can unsubscribe from their guest portal. Once they log in, if they go to edit on their guest info, there's 2 checkboxes. One is for subscribing or unsubscribing to emails, and if you have SMS activated, the other one's for text messaging instead. And then Becky asks, will Firefly ever create their own app? I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. It's possible. I will say, I know, like they plan out several months at least in advance, and it's not on like the near future plans or something like that, but maybe at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the good news is it is all optimized for different devices. So whether you use a computer or a smartphone or a tablet, regardless of what type it is, it will resize based on that. So yeah, hopefully that helps a little bit with not having an actual like native app to go to.
Yeah, and sort of on the same wavelength, I figured it's worth mentioning. Something came up the other day with Reserve America bookings. If there's one browser that causes a little more trouble than the others, I think it's Safari, just based on what I've seen. So just keep that in mind. I know there's a lot of Safari users. It, for the most part, I think is okay, but some little silly bugs have been related to Safari, which is a Mac product, or an Apple product. So.
Oh, and Kristen, when you're sending the bulk emails, you do have to change that filter though. So like the filter will default to all. Are you changing the filter to say subscribed yes when you're sending those? Because they will still get them otherwise. And Celia would like to have the make added at the beginning of making a reservation. So you mean like the make of the RV? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's how I read it too. Okay. Like the actual model and.
Yeah. Cool. And then Priscilla asks, is in the reservation process, is there a way to enter a zip code and have it autofill city state? At this point, no. I know this has been something that has been requested quite a bit. So it has been submitted as an enhancement request. So it is on the list of wants.
Yeah, I've put that in there myself, so I know it's in there.
I think I have too. So.
Anything else? I know we're a little bit over time, but that's okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sticking with us and listening to all this great information. Thanks for answering all those questions, Matt and Adrian. I appreciate that. Again, we will send out a recording of this email or of this webinar in the next couple of days. And you can also revisit any of our webinars on our YouTube channel. We do probably at least, I don't know, 6 or 7 a year. And we have a big library of past webinars that you can look through if you're interested.
Yeah, there's a couple with partners we've worked with and continue to work with. So if you guys are interested in automated meter readings or gate systems or all those sorts of things, feel free to take a peek at those because we've had a few webinars with them.
Yeah. And we've made lots of changes over the years too. So if you've been using Firefly for a while and you're like, oh, this could be done maybe a better way, that's what we're here for. So let us know if we can help. Thomas also asked if the prices are going up soon, and not that I'm aware of. So
Yeah, no, nothing that I've heard.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much for being here, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.